Welcome to my Redwood JS tutorial. Redwood JS, it's a framework to build whatever project you want. I like Redwood JS because it uses React, GraphQL, and Prisma, the three frameworks that I quite like. React is basically your UI framework. GraphQL is this API framework, and Prisma is a ORM that helps you make database connections, so you don't have to, directly write SQL queries. You just write a declarative file, and Prisma will essentially do the hard work for you to create the tables. If you want to do database migrations, you can do database migrations and such. First thing we're going to do is we will download the latest version of Node. Let me actually download the current version instead of long-term support. I'm going to install this. While it's installing, it takes a little bit. All right, so it says packages installed. This is where my nodejs lives. It also installed npm, and my user local bin is in my path variable. So I'm good to go. And I'll move the file to the trash. Now let's move on to the documentation. I'll start with quick start. If you want a more thorough tutorial, you can pick any of these chapters, just read through the details. But I'll just go ahead and start with quick start, and it's fairly simple. So first things first, I'm going to open up terminal. Let's see. So I'm going to go to my side projects folder. I'm going to make a new folder called Redwood tutorial. CD into that folder. CD just stands for change directory. And I will copy paste the command. Oh, it says yarn not found, which probably means I just need to install yarn. If you don't know yarn, just a package manager. So let's just look at the installation directory. Just open up terminal again. It's loading. Node.js has this core pack thing. So we're gonna enable core pack first. Core pack enable, it says permission denied. Symlink to core pack. Very interesting. Let's see if I can figure out what's going on here. It's essentially saying core pack enable looks like the default is probably some installation directory like this, enable, and so let's just try sudo real quick. Type in password, so it runs command. Okay, so I just need to run the command as a admin. Next, so core pack is already installed because I have node 19. So let's see if yarn is now available. Yep, yarn is now available. So now I can go back. Let me see what version of yarn I have. Yarn. How do I check version? I'm trying to figure out what version I have. Okay, output -v. Okay, yarn -v is going to tell me I have yarn 1.22. So I need yarn greater than 1.15 according to the tutorial, which means I should be good to go. So next we're going to do yarn create Redwood app, and then just gonna copy the folder here, my Redwood project. If I was doing an actual project, this probably would be whatever my project's name would be. But for now, when I put it inside a folder called Redwood tutorial, once I'm done with this, I can just delete the folder. It's nice and simple. And that should delete anything that I install with yarn in this folder. We'll just let it install. It takes a little bit. In the meantime, I'm gonna continue going down the document. It says okay. It says something is wrong. It says node compatibility checks failed for Redwood JS. Interesting. Oh, right, great. Less than 16. Fascinating. The LTS version is 18, so I'm surprised they don't support Node LTS. Let me see what other LTS versions they have. I wonder if I can see the other versions of long-term supported. No, I think this is the website. Node LTS versions. Okay, so they have Node 16, and it's going to go into maintenance from 2023, which we are about to go to 2023, and that's going to expire before 2023 ends. So I think it's better to be in Node 18 because this is going to be maintained until 2025. So I will go ahead and take the risk and override error and continue install. So this project I will do with TypeScript because it's typed JavaScript. Sort of helps you make kind of silly mistakes that would result in failures in runtime, and generally type safety just helps you move quicker once the project becomes a little larger. TypeScript really is not going to be super helpful if you're just doing a hobby project or just doing a tutorial, but anytime your project gets larger and you have people working on the project, you kind of want a statically typed language, and TypeScript is that. Do I want to initialize git? Absolutely, and I'll just delete a folder, so it's not going to affect anything. But for the sake of this tutorial, I will let it run. It's doing a yarn install. Let's see what we're going to do next. So it looks like once all of this is installed, I can just run the dev server by calling yarn redwood dev, which will open up the app, pre-generated app on this URL. Sounds great. It has tutorial, docs, cookbook, blah, blah, blah. And then looks like we're going to go start setting up Prisma in the database. It's very nice. I actually love Prisma. I used to use Prisma in a production project in my last company and really fell in love with it. I've used Django as an ORM before. Some simple projects I've sort of set up the database myself without using any ORMs. To be honest, not the biggest fan of not using ORMs, because one main benefit you get with ORM is you can sort of keep track of your database schema over time. So if you do database migrations and such, you can kind of go back in history and see what the database migration was before. And it also provides some amount of safety in your code base. So for example, if your old code is using a column called XYZ, but your database deleted the column called XYZ, you might end up having some errors in your app. But if you use ORM, that is tracked, and especially Prisma will generate the typed files for you. And what that does is it kind of helps it'll help you not have errors like that. So that's one main advantage. The second main advantage is that code always becomes the source of truth, and I really like that. Okay, so it looks like installation is right. Let me run the dev file, the dev server, I'm sorry. Here, the dev server is spinning up. And we have, okay, so that's going to be the beginning of the tutorial. I will see you in the next video.